welcome to another episode of Boring History. Previously, we've heard the tale of the 12 labours of Hercules, which some might argue is a career highlight of his, and today we are going to be hearing the tale of his death. In particular, the sequence of events as told by the great Athenian playwright Sophocles. Now, Sophocles is most well known for his Theban plays, and in particular all that drama caused by Oedipus and his mother. The death of Hercules features in one of his lesser known plays, the Trachiniae. Now, also before we get started, I'm going to give the same disclaimer that I gave in the 12 Labours video, which I can link up here somewhere. Hercules was originally known as Heracles by the Greeks. It was the Romans who, as with all their myths and legends, came up with the completely original name Hercules. And it's this version which has survived into the modern era. Therefore, for the sake of familiarity and the YouTube algorithm, I will be referring to our friend as Hercules, even though technically when it comes to things like Greek myths and legends and plays and everything else, we should really be talking about Heracles. And with the formalities out of the way, let's get on with our story. Our story begins at the home of Hercules and Deianira, who is one of Hercules' new wives, because as we remember from the 12 Labours video, Hercules killed the other one. Deianira and her nurse, who is kind of like old Nan, who told Bran all those stories in Game of Thrones, are going for a stroll, and Deianira is lamenting about how difficult her life is. She's like, look, I'm really grateful that I managed to end up with Hercules, especially considering that I almost ended up with that river god, who thought that an attractive look was to appear as a human male with an ox head. But the guy's never around. Not to mention our poor children, who Hercules seems to view as a farmer might a distant field, which he only visits twice, once to sow his seed and then to harvest, if you know what I mean. That's almost an exact quote from the play. Also, you'd think that Hercules would treat his new children a little bit better, considering how upset he was about killing the other ones. The nurse has been listening very sympathetically to Deianira, and she says, look, I may just be a lowly slave, but perhaps I could offer up a suggestion. You seem to have quite a few children running around the place, so surely you could spare one to send off into the world and try and locate this elusive husband of yours. And just as the nurse says that, one of the children, Hylas, runs up to them, and Deianira and the nurse look at each other like, oh my god, what are the chances of a child appearing right as you say that? Must be a sign from the heavens. They explain the situation to Hylas, and he's all like, yes, mother, I understand. Have faith in me. I shall find your husband and my father. And he trots off into the sunset. And Deianira, like a mournful nightingale, spends the next weeks or days or months or whatever staring off into that sunset. Eventually, a messenger appears. By the way, Deianira is actually a princess, and they live in a palace. Just in case you're trying to build like a visual image in your mind. So the messenger appears, galloping up to the palace, shouting, I have great, fantastic news! Hercules is alive and he's won many battles and obtained many, many spoils. To which Deianira is like, what's your point? How does that benefit me? And the messenger replies, it means that your darling husband is on his way home? Praise Zeus, all Deianira's prayers have been answered, and the whole palace erupts into song and dance, and they go on a cleaning frenzy, and it's just a very, very happy moment. Jump forward a couple of days or so, and Lycus, who's the herald who told the first messenger that Hercules was still alive, appears at the palace with a whole bunch of captive women. Deianira comes out to meet him and asks, am I missing something? Like, why have you brought these women to me? Lycus tries to brush her off and says, look, just don't mind them. They're just a prize your husband won when he sacked a city. No big deal. Deianira looks over the women and asks, what about that one specific woman? She looks particularly miserable. Who's she? Who's her mother? Who's her father? What's she doing here? Lycus is like, look, I don't know. I'm just the messenger, all right? I'm just the delivery boy. What do you expect from me? What do you want? Apparently the woman doesn't talk either, so she can't answer the question. Then Lycus is like, look, do we have to be standing around in the cold? Can't we go inside? You know, relax. It's been a very long journey. And Deianira is like, oh, whoops, sorry, where are my manners? Yeah, of course, let's go inside, get some tea. Then just as they're about to walk inside, she hears a psst, psst, and she looks around. And there, in the shadows lurking, is the first messenger. He dramatically whispers, don't believe anything that guy's saying. He's a complete liar. Deianira's all like, I don't understand. What do you mean? To which the messenger replies, look, I'm just telling you what I heard, but according to my sources, the whole reason Hercules sacked that city is because that miserable girl, you know, the extra miserable one, it's because her father, who was the king, wouldn't allow Hercules to have her as a concubine. And Deianira's all like, what? What are you saying? Is Hercules in love with that girl? And the messenger's all like, look, I'm just telling you what I heard, alright? Deianira and the messenger go inside to... Hi, baby. Deianira and the messenger go inside to confront Lycus, who's like, that madman is a liar. And Deianira's all like, won't somebody just tell me the truth? It's not fair. I felt so sorry for that girl when I first saw her because she's pretty and I'm pretty and I know what a burden that can be. Which causes Lycus to say, okay, I admit it, everything the messenger said was true. Deianira then launches into this big long speech about how she understands how Hercules has always had a bit of a wandering eye. He's a ladies' man. It's alright, he's an attractive looking guy. But surely everyone here present can agree that expecting her to actually live with one of his mistresses is taking things a little bit too far. At this stage, everyone's just nodding like, yeah, of course, we totally agree with you. It's alright, calm down. Which of course encourages Deianira to go on, and she's like, look guys, I want to run a scenario past you. Let me know what you think. I have this, secret weapon, if you may, in the bronze urn on the mantelpiece over there. You see, when I first met Hercules and we were on our way home, we met this centaur dude called Nessos who was helping me cross a river. But as we get halfway across, he becomes so overwhelmed with my beauty that he just can't keep his hands to himself anymore, and Hercules has to end up shooting him with an arrow. Very traumatic, I agree. We still managed to make it across, but Nessos is a little bit worse for wear, and he just lies on the riverbank with his blood just dripping all over the place. And he asked me to come closer. Now, of course, who am I to deny a dying centaur his wish? So I do. And everyone's like, yeah, no, oh, of course you can't. Of course you have to go. Yeah, totally. Deianira is like, exactly. And continues with her story. It's okay, baby. The centaur was a bad man. So obviously Nessos feels terrible about what's happened, and he tells me to take some of his blood to make sure that Hercules will always love me, because centaur blood is actually a very, very powerful love potion. Deianira is like, well, of course I took some blood. Like, a girl can never have too many insurances. Until this moment I've kept it hidden because I haven't felt the need to use it. But now that this interloper has arrived, well, I think it's about time to pull out my lucky charm. Now, everyone agrees with Deianira's reasoning because they're like, well, do you know what? At least if you use it, we'll know if centaur blood really is a very powerful love potion. And with them all in agreement, Deianira gives Lycus a blood-soaked robe. And he promises to bring it to Hercules. She makes him swear that he won't let anybody else wear it because she doesn't want things to get messy. Makes sense. They've already got a love triangle. The last thing they need is a love square. And again, Lycus rides off into the sunset and Deianira's sitting around waiting. But slowly she starts getting a bit of a bad feeling about her plan because some of the wool that's been left over from the robe she made for Hercules shriveled up into something that looked like a sultana after it touched some of the blood. And she's like, maybe I shouldn't have trusted that centaur who was killed by my husband? I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think? Alright, so she's been waiting around for a while, and eventually Hylas, her son, who if you remember from earlier is the one she sent to go and look for Hercules, returns. And he storms into the palace and he's all like, Mother, I hate you. You're the worst mother ever. How could you? I wish I wasn't your son. Deianira's all like, hold up. I don't know what you're talking about. What's wrong, Hylas? Darling, talk to me. Hylas explains that he was there when Lycus gave her gift to Hercules, and at first it was all going fine. Hercules was praying to the gods, but then all of a sudden he just starts screaming in absolute agony, and no one can shut him up. Wails of agony. Through his screams, Hercules is cursing Lycus for doing this to him, and he ends up grabbing him by the ankles and just flinging him off a cliff. Mind you, Sophocles' description of this particular incident is rather graphic and literally tells us how Lycus' white brain seeped out of his blood-covered skull. But anyway, moving on. Hylas tells Deianira that they've brought back the still screaming Hercules, and she's like, do you know what, I just can't deal with this, and walks away. And Hylas is all like, yeah, you better walk away. At this point, the story just explodes. Deianira ends up killing herself because she feels so bad at what she's done, and then Hylas finds out that Deianira didn't really mean to hurt Hercules, and then he feels bad because it's like, it's my fault my mother killed herself. Everybody's feeling bad at this point. Hercules eventually comes off the boat and he's like, I can't deal with the pain of this centaur blood, it's going to kill me, and then he launches into this really long speech about his miserable life. But he also makes sure to mention all his brilliant deeds, like, you know, killing the Hydra, taming the Erymanthian boar. Is the list beginning to sound familiar? Hylas still tries to be a good son, or at least redeem himself, by telling Hercules, you know, Mum really didn't mean it. She was tricked. It wasn't her fault. But Hercules just doesn't want to hear it. And in the end, the pain is just so bad, and he's like, do you know what? I always knew this was going to happen. Zeus prophesied that no mortal man was going to be able to kill me, and now we're here. And for that reason, he goes and tells his son, go build a funeral pyre, just light it up, put all the flames, put all the wood, put everything, and Hercules walks into it and dies. The end. Now there's an extended version of this story where Zeus ends up feeling sorry for his burning son, and he like pulls him out of the fire and brings him into the heavens where he becomes a constellation and lives on forever as a god. So, you know, if you want a happy ending, that's slightly happier, I guess. And there we have it, the death of the great Hercules. Thanks so much for joining me, and I look forward to sharing even more boring history with you in the future.